Yes, in this video, we will be looking into some um, mud flood content or old world, ancient world content, and electroculture societies and all that. How can I say? Developed societies. Um, and also, this video will be about the past resets, past resets of humanity. So it contains also mount flood and other floods, water flood, normal floods, water floods. So here's some. It looks like an island. It's in the middle of some mountains, but there's also water stream goes on. And this mountain looks like actually a pyramid. So in this description, he said, yeah, it's Faroe Islands. It's at the Faroe Islands. Is that a hidden pyramid? So you can see many mountain-looking pyramids in almost many countries over the world. So I also saw some mountains like this. I guess they are also ancient civilizations products. They maybe they made those pyramids to use as a energy supplier or energy collector, some like that, or any other purposes, or any or for any other purposes. So here's another photo from another angle. Yeah, it looks like it's a triangle. Yeah, I saw one mountain like this in Turkey, in my country. Yeah, it wasn't exactly, it was a pyramid for me. So this is Faroe Islands map. So here we go. In this image, we see it has a top corner. It looks really, really sharp. So it means it's like a man-made pyramid. Or maybe the giants made it. Giant people made it. So here's another drawing, old drawing, old picture. It's from Book of Miracles, year Anno Domini 1293. A wondrous pilgrimage commenced not only in Italy but also in other countries. More than 20,000 children being marked with crosses and led astray through trickery, so that they went in droves to the ports of the sea. This was the failed children's crusade said to have occurred in 1212. Were children led by good will, or was this the intention to gentrify Europe? Was this the beginning of child trafficking in a grand way? Were these the first stolen Tartarian children? So in this picture, we see the children, and there's a man who leads those children, who attacks those children. Exactly, it seems to me like that. And there's a text, but I cannot read. Maybe it's not English, or maybe because of it's an old writing. So here's a year, here's the date, 1293. Anno Domini 1293. So it was in the 13th century. Yeah, as many people know that, who know mud flood and the resets, ancient resets, that there was a need for gentrifying or popularizing the world. So the authorities wanted it to gentrify the world, to repopulate the world. So it was their purpose. After resetting the world, after the reset. So yeah, this was their main goal, to transfer the cloned childs to the other parts of the world, to all parts of the world actually. So they transferred or populate the world. They transferred babies, the cloned babies, via the ships, and they actually was successful in this. So here we are living, and our ancestors were just cloned babies. There were baby incubators in after the reset. There were centers for doing it. Some people were have they had the responsibility to do it. Their mission was this, to repopulate the world. So yeah, they're just successful, as you can see that we are just the children of the clone babies actually. So they actually created the world over and over again and again. So the child trafficking is also a part of this. It's also continuing in the world to make their bad deeds, to suffer more children, make more children suffer, and sacrifice children for their satanic purposes. So yeah, I think there's a comment, an early version of the orphan trains, and don't forget the fairy tale of the guy playing the flute that took all the children. The Pied Piper story, maybe it's just like a saying, nothing new under the sun. They just keep replaying it in different themes. Yeah, his comment by Laurie explains all, at all, what I meant to say. So this, that Verdi's first stolen Tartarian children is also a fact that is the Tartarian empires were being attacked, and they were defeated actually by the, some people say, Atlantis people, or authoritarians, the rulers of the world, and so evil people. So their purpose was to steal the Tartarian children, to defeat them. So in this picture, they might be the Tartarian children. In the comments, he's just telling it to us. So here's a Tartarian Cossacks 1700s images. These weren't just simplistic nomads. Yeah, they don't look like that. Was the Kraken real? These findings, a big as shell covering and tentacle imprints, are pointing towards a very large octopus type animal. You know it's real. Yeah, you know, guys, in the past, in the Tartarian times, there were monsters and there were dragons, as the historical data shows us about the Tartarian times, the old world. Um, the this might also be real story. As the story goes, the mythical kraken is illustrated here was an ancient and tentacled sea monster which ate whales and devoured entire ships. Stories about this monster seems to date back to 12th century Norway. These tales often refer to a creature so big it was mistaken for an island. So here's a mountain picture in the shape of a human head, actually, human skull. Old Man of the Mountain, also called Great Stone Face. Yeah, it's called as Great Stone Face because it might be a giant's, petrified giant's face. Uh, it appears as a mountain in today's world, but found on a granite cliff ledges on Cannon Mountain in Franconia, New Hampshire, United States. A petrified giant lost to time. Yeah, it's also a nice example to tell people that there were giants and they were petrified by the ruling elites. And this also happened in the mud flood, the reset of the Tartarian empires, or it might be more older than that. So here you guys can see it. There are many examples like that. It's not a great example, but we see those examples. So it's information about the real order of the months. Uh, there are 13 months, as these people think. Um, so here's the map of our world. It's old data. It's an old document, old map. Other lands they are not letting us to know about. Are they still there? Is that why there are no direct flights over that part of the Pacific? Yeah. I guess the planes are allowed to uh, fly through these corridors. The just parallel corridors, airways. So we don't know about these areas, about the world. Also, you can see these areas as reflected on over the moon. You can see when you look at the moon, you see these other continents of our world. So yeah, it's actually another fact about it. So here's Australia. Here's another continent, and we don't know about them. The ruling elites don't talk about it to us. I think the current size of Asia and Russia is more like the current size of the hidden lands attached, kind of like showing us hidden in plain view. I think the last reset of 1812 to 1816, they literally electrocuted and deep fried all the continents and sent them into our current understanding of the continent placements. Yes, if you look on the moon projection maps, it shows what seems to be Lemuria, moon other side of Australia, and a couple of islands off the coast of Africa. That's why current flat Earth maps have that big gap, is because they're still fake, but more real. What was the War of 1812 about? Technically, it was the world against Napoleon, but if you do your research and check out a lot of the history about 20 years before this, you'll see that the War 1812 was actually the First World War. The details between 1790 and 1820 are possibly fabricated and muddied, but it seems to be that the good guys were trying to break the bad guys' grip on the world, and they had to completely destroy and reset all life on this planet, except for maybe like 10%. Yes, researchers discovered 9,000-year-old Stonehenge-like structure in Lake Michigan. So it reminds us the fact that are those Stonehenge buildings um, related to more uh, mystic, or uh, is it a myth? Is it a secret about it? Is it so ancient, so made out of developed cultures, societies? I don't know. Is it made by giants? Lake Michigan Stonehenge, or maybe remnants of Tartarian buildings and aqueducts. It's shrouded in mystery, only 40 feet down, because it's going to raise more questions. And it certainly is not 9,000 years old, more like a few hundred, after the Catholicism of the early 1500s. Dervish Mehmet Zille, aka Evliya Çelebi, was an Ottoman explorer who traveled over 40 years and wrote about it in Seyahatname, Book of Travel. He lived in He lived and died during the 17th century. His genre writing began in Istanbul with the taking notes on the buildings, markets, customs, and culture. He traveled all over Europe and the Middle East. He was very well known all over the world. His work has been used to fill in many holes in his history, yet something are overlooked. His book had 10 volumes. The first volume was about Constantinople. He writes of its naming of Constantinople by Constantine. Now here's the interesting thing. Evliya Çelebi writes of Constantine putting 500 cannons around the iron gates of the city. Cannons were not invented until the 1200s. Constantine is noted in history books to the founding of Constantinople 330 AD. So then how did Constantinople have cannons prior to their invention? Because the timeline is wrong. Constantine lived during medieval time. Yes, I just reread it. Proof that the timeline is off. History is a lie. There was no ancient Rome Greek Empire. 500 cannons. At the time of Constantine, there were 500 cannons planned on the Netherlands. Weren't invented until 1700s. Interesting. How could Constantine won? have come if they were invented 900 years later. What did Thoreau know? Henry David Thoreau. Nations, what are nations? Tartars and Huns and Chinamen. Like insects they swarm. The historian strives in vain to make them memorable. It is for want of a man that there are so many men. It is individuals that populate the world. Yes, it's about repopulation. It's about resets, ancient resets, old worlds, and all that is still going on. All is a game. Tartaria was in North America, no doubt about it. So many people in the last 150 years wrote of this, learned the real history of the world. Another author, the learned Englishman Edward Brerewood, advances the opinion that the New World was first peopled by the Tartars because America was always better repopulated on the side towards Asia than on that towards Europe. Second, because the genes of the Tartars and the American Indians who are nomads and never applied themselves to any art was similar and their color the same. And third, because the fierce wild beasts in America, which we cannot suppose to have been transported by the sea, could only have reached here by way of Tartary. Mysteries idol in Mandar. Who built it? Why did it disappear after 1900s? Was it remnants of an early civilization? Great idol, great idol of the cave of Mandar. Yes, and Tibet. Tibet, one of the most powerful of the Tartar kingdoms, having China on the east and India on the west. Tibet, most powerful. What made this kingdom powerful? I wonder. That Hitler went there and came back. So this is the last post that I will be researching on. What do Constantinople, Rome, and Jerusalem have in common? It's curious that they all have 7 hills, isn't it? The three cities with 7 hills. There are many more cities with sevens, I guess. I also think. Not if Constantinople was also called Rome. Not if Rome was called Jerusalem. They are all the same place, different people telling the same story, different perspectives. Think about it. Istanbul as the city of the seven hills. Turkish Yedi Tepeli şehir. Constantinople in the Byzantine period. Seven hills of Jerusalem. Jerusalem has seven hills. So these are the hills. What more we have? Okay. Two moons. There have been other posts showing evidence of two moons. Here we see it clearly. And from terracotta, possibly one of the earliest pieces in Babylonian history. Chariot with the interior with stump. One is supposedly a god, the other a worshipper, similar to depictions on cylinder seals of the same era. We had two moons. I don't know. If you are new to this, start learning about Tartaria. It was an empire, not a conspiracy. Scythia, the northern parts of Europe and Asia were anciently so called, which afterwards obtained the name of Tartary. Sea is frequently used for that vast tract of water in yes. Yeah, actually previously I said that dragons were real. You see in this text that they were also real in the historical texts. Draco, the dragon, in zoology, a genus belonging to the other order of Amphibia reptilia. The characters of which are these: it has four legs, a cylindrical tail, and two membranaceous wings, radiated like the fins of a hilt, by which he is enabled to fly, but not to any great distance at a time. There are two species: the volans or flying dragon, with the wings entirely distinct from the forelegs. It is found in Africa and the East Indies. The prepose, with the wings fixed to the forelegs, is a native of America. They are both harmless creatures and feed upon flies, ants, and small insects. Written in the first edition of Encyclopedia Britannica, if it were imaginary or legendary, it would have been written as such. Ladies and gentlemen, there were dragons.
Just look at this little person struggling to close this massive door.
They had a man who was 6 feet tall.
The grand structures of old were not made for the little people. They were already there. We are merely the inheritors of a much larger land. The evidence of giants can be found all across our realm. These stories are just a small piece of the much larger.
Yes, this video was all for this old world topic. I see that it's almost 30 minutes, half an hour. It was a quite good video. It may be some parts of it can be silent. I may became silent in just reading some of the content. Sorry for that, but I guess it's again a good restarting video for the old world Tartaria mod slot video. I will be continuing on the series actually with another creator videos. So thanks for listening. See you in the next video.